Some doorbells don't just ring. They whisper. They call from a place beyond our understanding. It's not always faulty wiring. Sometimes it's something else. Something older. Something that waits. It wants to be heard, you see. It has a message to deliver. Or a warning. Legends speak of these spectral chimes. Across cultures, the stories echo. A doorbell can be a bridge, a thin connection to the other side. Spirits might use them. Lost souls trying to reach out, or perhaps something far less benign. They linger at the threshold, seeking entry, seeking you. The 3 a.m. chime is the worst. They call it the witching hour, or the devil's hour. Listen closely, her story begins now. Maple Street looked like any other. Trees lined the sidewalks. Their leaves rustled in the gentle breeze. Houses sat neatly, side by side. Manicured lawns stretched out like green carpets. Picket fences gleamed white in the sun. It was a picture of suburban peace, a place where nothing bad ever happened, or so it seemed, a perfect, quiet illusion. The house stood on the corner, number 12. It was a 2-story building, clapboard siding, painted a cheerful yellow. A wide porch invited visitors. Rocking chairs sat empty, waiting. The front door was a bold red. It looked welcoming, it looked normal. But houses have secrets, even yellow ones with red doors. Safety is often just a feeling. An illusion woven from familiarity. Neighbors smiled and waved. Children laughed, playing tag on the lawns. Eleanor Vance lived in that house, number 12 Maple Street. She was a librarian, a woman who found comfort in silence, and in the rustle of turning pages. Her life was one of quiet order. Everything had its place. Every day followed a pattern. She liked routine. It made her feel safe. Predictability was her friend. Her evenings were simple, a light supper, a cup of herbal tea, usually chamomile, then a good book. She would read for an hour or two. The world outside would fade away. By 10, she was usually in bed. Sleep came easily to her. Her small world was peaceful, undisturbed by chaos or surprise, or so she believed. Eleanor lived alone. She had for many years. She was not lonely, she often told herself. She was content in her solitude. The house was her sanctuary. The night it began was still. No wind whispered through the maples. No storm raged overhead, just a heavy, breathless quiet. The kind of quiet that presses in. The digital clock on her nightstand glowed. Red numbers. 3 a.m., the deepest part of the night. When the world holds its breath and waits. Ding-dong. The sound sliced through the silence. Sharp, clear, undeniable. The doorbell. Eleanor jolted awake, her heart hammered against her ribs. A wild bird trapped in a cage. Confusion fogged her mind. Who could it be? At this hour? It made no sense. No sense at all. She lay there for a moment, frozen, listening. Only the frantic thumping of her own heart. Then, slowly, she pushed back the covers. Her feet touched the cold wooden floor. She crept out of the bedroom. The next night, sleep was a restless sea. Eleanor tossed and turned, her ears strained for any sound. The clock ticked, a tiny hammer blow. 2:58 a.m., 2:59 a.m. Her breath caught in her throat. Then, it came, ding-dong, louder this time it seemed, more insistent, more demanding. It knew she was awake. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through her. This was not a prank. Pranksters give up. This was something else, something persistent, something that wanted her attention. A knot of dread tightened in her stomach. She didn't go to the door this time. She pulled the covers over her head, as if that could stop it, as if that could make her safe. The third night, it happened again. And the fourth, and the fifth. A relentless pattern. Every night at precisely 3 a.m. the doorbell would ring. 2 sharp, clear chimes. Eleanor knew she couldn't ignore it. The persistent ringing of the doorbell at the same time every night was more than just a nuisance. It was a mystery that gnawed at her, demanding her attention. This thing, whatever it was, wouldn't just go away. She tried logic first. Maybe it was a prank or perhaps a technical glitch. She needed to find a rational explanation. It had to be faulty wiring, a short circuit perhaps. She called an electrician, hoping for a simple fix. A young man with confident eyes arrived. He checked everything meticulously, leaving no stone unturned. The bell, the wires, the button. Every component was scrutinized. "Everything's perfect, ma'am," he said with a reassuring smile. No reason for it to ring on its own. His words were meant to comfort, but they only deepened her unease. His words offered no comfort, only deeper unease. If it wasn't the wiring, then what could it be? She turned to the internet, hoping to find some answers. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, searching for any clue, any similar experiences. Doorbell rings at same time every night. Haunted doorbell. Supernatural occurrences at 3 a.m. Stories appeared, each more unsettling than the last. Forum posts from frightened people sharing their own eerie experiences, people who had experienced similar things, whispers of spirits, of lingering presences, whispers of spirits, of lingering presences. The stories were chilling, but they also brought a strange comfort. She wasn't alone in this. Others had faced the same inexplicable phenomena, but that thought was hardly reassuring. It meant this was real. It wasn't just her imagination, it meant this was real. Her librarian instincts kicked in. Research was her strength. Her librarian instincts kicked in. Research was her strength. She delved into local history, hoping to uncover any clues. She delved into local history, old town records, newspaper archives. She searched for any mention of strange occurrences, dusty books in the library's back rooms. She pored over every detail, every old story. Had something happened in her house? On this land? A tragedy? A sudden death? She needed answers. She needed to understand. On this land? A tragedy? A sudden death? She needed answers. She needed to understand. What did this nightly visitor want? What did this nightly visitor want? Why her? Why now? Why her? Why now? Then she found it, the piece of the puzzle that made everything fall into place. Eleanor couldn't live like this anymore. The nights were endless, filled with a gnawing anxiety that never seemed to let up. She felt trapped in a cycle of fear and uncertainty. The fear was eating her alive. The sleepless nights, the constant dread. Every creak of the house, every whisper of the wind sent her heart racing. She was a prisoner in her own home. She had to face it, whatever it was, this unseen, persistent caller. It was time to put an end to the torment. She couldn't let it control her life any longer. She decided tonight would be the night. She would not hide. She would confront whatever was haunting her. She would find the courage within herself to face the unknown. She would answer the door. She had to know. The mystery had to be unraveled, no matter the cost. She needed to reclaim her peace of mind, even if knowing was worse. The fear of the unknown was paralyzing, but the truth, no matter how terrifying, was something she could face head-on. The not knowing was unbearable. She prepared herself, as if for battle. She made coffee, strong and black. It was her armor, her way of steeling herself for what was to come. She wouldn't even try to sleep. Sleep was a luxury she couldn't afford tonight. She needed to be alert, ready for anything. She sat in the living room armchair, the one that had become her watchtower, her sentinel post, the one facing the front door, the door that held all the answers and all the fears. A single lamp cast a pool of light. It was a small comfort in the overwhelming darkness. The rest of the house lay in shadow. Silent and foreboding, it seemed to hold its breath along with her. The grandfather clock in the hall ticked. Each second felt like an eternity. Each tick was a hammer blow, louder and louder, counting down, 2:58 a.m. The moment of truth was approaching. The air in the room grew heavy, colder. It was as if the very atmosphere was conspiring against her. A palpable pressure built around her. It was suffocating, pressing down on her from all sides. Like the air before a violent thunderstorm, she could feel it. The tension was electric, crackling in the air, a presence. It was near. It was waiting too. Her skin prickled. She wasn't alone in this. The hairs on her arms stood on end. The doorbell didn't chime. It shrieked. The moment had arrived. Her hand reached for the doorknob. It was cold. So cold. Like a piece of ice. Her heart hammered against her ribs. A frantic drumbeat in the suffocating silence. This was it. The moment of truth, or the moment of madness. She took a deep, ragged breath. She had to see. She had to know who or what was there. Fear was a living thing inside her, but resolve was stronger. She twisted the knob, pulled the door inward, flung it open wide. She braced herself. For emptiness. For a cruel prank. For something monstrous. The porch light cast its yellow glow. Onto the empty space beyond. For a heartbeat, nothing. Just the familiar porch. The silent street. Then, for a fraction of a second, she saw it, or thought she saw it, a face, suspended in the night air, pale, gaunt, ethereal. Its features were indistinct, but the eyes, oh the eyes, they were wide, filled with an ancient sorrow, a desperate longing, or was it malice? She couldn't be sure. It was there. The doorbell never rang at 3 a.m. again. After that night, the house fell into an eerie silence. The once familiar chime was now a distant memory. After she opened the door, the phenomenon ceased. As suddenly and inexplicably as it began, it ended. The nightly disturbances vanished. The dark porch, once a stage for the unknown, was now just a shadowy corner. Whatever it was, it seemed satisfied. Or perhaps it had moved on to another unsuspecting soul. The nightly ritual was broken. The silence of 3 a.m. returned, but it was no longer a peaceful silence. It was a knowing silence, a silence that remembered. Eleanor Vance was changed, profoundly, irrevocably. The house, her former sanctuary, was tainted. It was no longer a place of comfort. It held a memory, a cold spot on the porch that never warmed, a lingering sense of being watched. She tried to ignore it, to reclaim her home, her peace. But the fear had taken root, too deep to pull out. The house knew, and she knew. She sold the house within months, took a loss, just to be free of it. She moved to a small apartment in a busy part of the city, surrounded by noise and people. She tried to forget Maple Street, tried to forget the chimes, the face. But some things cannot be unseen. Some experiences cannot be unfelt. They become a part of you. They linger in the corners of your mind. No matter how far you run, the scars of the supernatural remain. They shape you, haunt you. Eleanor Vance learned this the hard way, her life forever altered by a single night. The house on Maple Street, once a home, was now just a memory, a haunting memory. She sold the house within months, took a loss, just to be free of it. She moved to a small apartment in a busy part of the city, surrounded by noise and people. She tried to forget Maple Street, tried to forget the chimes, the face. But some things cannot be unseen, some experiences cannot be unfelt, they become a part of you. But some things cannot be unseen, some experiences cannot be unfelt, they become a part of you.